it's a civil fine, civil penalty, not criminal. So it's a much lower threshold of being found guilty. It's not if you're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Oh my gosh. It's if it's likely you're guilty. In most cases, you'll be found guilty. So in Indiana, their polygraph examiners are state licensed. So instead of hiring an attorney, I hired a polygraph examiner and took a lie detector test. So I went to court and I had to travel to go do this. Took a week off of work. I mean, between the polygraph, the hotel stay, travel expenses, all that good stuff. I mean, it cost me a few $1,000s just to fight a seatbelt ticket, which you get a higher amount of CSA points for a seatbelt ticket than you do any other violation. So back in them days, you could not get those CSA points taken off unless you were found not guilty in front of a judge. You could, if it got dismissed, you still got penalized with those CSA points. There was no due process for anything like that, and I was going to make a big deal out of it, and so I show up to court. I go do the polygraph, pass it with flying colors. $500, I think I paid for that back then. So I show up to court on my court date. There's only 3 people there. And pretty much I don't think there was even a judge there. I was supposed to have my trial that day. And so the first guy goes in, he comes out, and he said, well, they just reduced it to littering, so I pled out on that, which I can't do. I still get the CSA points, if I do something like that. Plus, I'm not guilty. So I got my polygraph, go in, and the woman prosecutor lady's like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and dismiss this. And I said, no. I said, I don't. I said, I came here for a trial. Who summons me? I want my trial. And she's like, well, it's up to me whether you get one or not. And she's like, you're not getting one. And I said, so let me get this straight. You wrote me a ticket for something I didn't do. I was like, there's not even a judge here, is there? You're just going to drop the stuff or reduce it. So you summons me for a trial that has a 0% chance of taking place. You're like the World War II Gestapo here. I said, if you dismiss this, I still get penalized with points. I said, are you going to write the DOT and the FMCSA a letter? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, now I got to sue you too. I got to sue you, sue the state, sue the county, sue the feds. So I eventually signed the paperwork to dismiss it because it was getting a little loud in there, and the guys in the suits with the guns and badges were hanging around. So instead of creating a bigger issue for myself, so I did have a Superman shirt on underneath my dress clothes.